The countdown is on for one of the biggest royal events in 70 years, the King's Coronation, and we've got all the info you need.
Also coming up, we'll be investigating exactly what a king does and how he and the Prime Minister get on.
You know, when I have these conversations with him, I can see just how unbelievably committed he is to serving our country.
And we meet one of the hundreds of children that got a surprise invitation to the coronation from the King.
I didn't realise you could be invited for sleeping in a tent, but here we are.
Hi there, we've got the lowdown on the coronation from our team of reporters.
But what do we know about King Charles? Well, we've been looking through the archives.
Born on November 14th, 1948, Charles Philip Arthur George was Queen Elizabeth's first child, so he became next in line to the throne.
Polo was one of his favourite sports, and he played it for many years. He also liked acting.
Most exciting, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen anything quite like it before. I think I got quite a large one here. It's very, very large indeed.
And he's visited the set of EastEnders. He also made a guest appearance on, you guessed it, Coronation Street.
By his early 20s, the Prince of Wales was amongst the first to speak out about climate change.
I've spent so much of my life trying to warn that we have to operate in ways which make nature thrive, not suffer.
In fact, he introduced a Sky Kids award-winning documentary about the future of our planet.
In this film, we'll be hearing from 6 young climate activists from 6 different continents.
He married a 19-year-old nursery teacher, Lady Diana Spencer, in 1981. They had 2 sons, Prince William and Harry.
By the early 90s, the couple were facing difficulties in their marriage and later divorced in 1996. In 1997, Princess Diana died in a car accident. It was a difficult time for the whole country, the royal family, and especially the princess.
Nearly 10 years later, happier times for the King, when he married his long-term partner, Camilla.
They will now be known as King Charles III and Queen Camilla. We're spotting lots of changes already. A new crown emoji has been created of the St. Edward's crown, which will be used for the coronation. Stamps have already been changed, and coins too. The Royal Mint has released a range of limited edition coins to mark the coronation. The final stage to truly welcome our new king is his coronation. So to get an idea of what that will be like, check out this footage. Queen Elizabeth's coronation was the first to be televised. Over to Maya in London, where she's getting more details.
So, Jariah, that coronation was watched by 277 million people across the globe. 70 years on, just as many will see King Charles and Queen Camilla leave Buckingham Palace and make their way through London in this stunning horse-drawn carriage.
And this is mine. Hi, Omar. Known as the King's Procession, more than 6,000 members of the armed forces follow the King and Queen Consort as they make their way to Westminster Abbey, where the coronation is being held. Sky News royal correspondent Laura Bundock will be reporting on the events of the day, and I'm off to meet her.
The coronation is a big religious event, basically. So what we'll see happen is the king will take 3 oaths. He will then go off, and we won't see this, but to be anointed. So that basically means he will get holy oil put on him. Yeah. And it's meant to be so sacred that the cameras won't show this bit. After the anointing, he will then come back and be presented with various bits of coronation regalia. They're all the sacred objects that symbolise the roles and responsibilities of the monarchy, and including, and the moment we're all probably waiting for, is his crowning. So the St. Edward's crown will be placed on his head, and that's a really big moment in the coronation.
So what happens back at the palace?
So after the coronation finishes, there's going to be what's called the coronation procession.
Yeah.
And that will take, in the gold state coach, the king and the queen, because we'll call Camilla queen after the coronation, all the way back from the Abbey to Buckingham Palace. There'll be a welcome by the army for the king there, and then they'll head up onto the Buckingham Palace balcony, and then we'll have a fly past that will go over Buckingham Palace to mark sort of the end of the big day.
And even if you can't get a seat, our TVs and tablets will give us the best view possible. We're being asked to celebrate with traditional British street parties, just like we would have done 70 years ago.
There'll be huge screens set up in cities and towns across the country to watch the coronation. And when Braden and I interviewed the Prime Minister recently, it seemed it was the concert and street parties that he was most looking forward to.
You know, I get to meet His Majesty the King every week, and we have a meeting every week. It's called an audience.
What's your relationship like? Do you guys get on? Are you mates?
Yeah. Well, I'd say, I'm the Prime Minister. He's the King. But I tell you one thing is, you know, when I have these conversations with him, I can see just how unbelievably committed he is to serving our country, and you know his strong desire to represent everybody, you know, from every walk of life, and it's a real privilege to be able to have that opportunity every week, and we're lucky to have him and doing that job. And when it comes to the coronation, it's going to be an amazing celebration. It's going to be a great celebration of our history, but it's also going to be a celebration of what's coming in the future and what the King is going to do. Now, I'm really excited about the concert. You guys excited about the concert?
Of course, that's the best bit.
That's the best bit. Well, there's some other bits I have to do as well. But I am looking forward to the concert because Katy Perry's coming. So that's on Saturday night. And then also, we're having a big lunch. So, I don't know, are you guys having a lunch out somewhere, street party or something?
Yeah, I do like a lunch. I do like my food.
You like your food?
That'll be quite exciting.
It'll be exciting, yeah. So we're doing one on Downing Street.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Not
So we're going to have a big.
bad.
So we need the weather to be right. But I think it's going to be a great weekend for the country. We're all just going to celebrate. You know, this is a really special moment for us, and it's a great moment for us to come together.
Okay, so Jariah and everyone watching, check this out. Was Victoria Sponge named after Queen Victoria? And was Coronation Chicken named after Queen Elizabeth's coronation?
I might believe the chicken coronation, but I'm not too sure about Victoria Sponge.
Well, it's actually a fact. And now there's a new coronation-themed dish, Coronation Quiche, and here's one I prepared earlier. So, should we give it a try?
Yeah, but what's actually in it?
Okay, so there's broad beans and spinach and cheese and tarragon and obviously egg. Okay, so should we try it?
Let's give it a try.
Okay. It's pretty good.
That's really good.
Well, this is the invite all the guests received from Buckingham Palace. At the bottom of the invitation, you can see the folklore figure of the Green Man to reflect the King's many years of environmental campaigning.
King Charles has surprised hundreds of children, community heroes and charity workers with an invite to the coronation, including the boy in the tent. Remember Max Woosey? He raised more than £750,000 for charity by spending 3 years in a tent in his garden. I could never do that. Scarlett, could you?
That would be so difficult. He was a big inspiration to Nate, an FYI News Club member from Copwood School in North Devon who followed Max's blog. So we asked him to report for FYI on Max's invite to the coronation.
From the beginning of his challenge, we followed the incredible story of Max, aka Tent Boy.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm camping outside to raise money for the North Devon Hospice. Quite windy tonight. Wow!
After 3 years of sleeping in his tent, Max has finally decided to move back into his family home.
Hey Max, it's Bear Grylls here.
Media and celebrities all over the country have admired Max's determination and fundraising skills, and now he has received the ultimate recognition. How do you feel when you received the invitation to the coronation?
It was a huge honour to be invited to the coronation. I didn't realise you could be invited for sleeping in a tent, but here we are.
Did you ever want to give up?
It'd be quite uncomfortable sleeping in a tent. A lot of rain and water would get into it, and it wasn't the nicest place to live in. But knowing all the money was going to the North Devon Hospice, I couldn't stop there.
Let's talk about the big day. What are you going to wear? Can you show me?
You know what? Give me 2 secs.
Oh, there you go. This should be it for the coronation.
Wow.
Who are you going to the coronation with?
So me and my dad are going together and we're hoping it can be a bit of a boys' trip, just us two. I think we have to be up about 6 to arrive at...
6?
I know, it's going to be an early morning, but I think we have to get to the actual place at about 7 in the morning.
Wow, I wouldn't even be awake at that time.
I know, it's not going to be fun.
What bit are you most looking forward to with the coronation?
You know what, just being able to go there for the experience, and it's going to be a huge part of history, and it's going to be amazing just to be able to say, oh, I was there in the actual event.
King Charles has supported hundreds of charities, but he also set up his own, the Prince's Trust, which helps young people get into jobs, education and training. So this got us thinking. We know the royal family opens new buildings and supports loads of charities, but there's got to be more to it than that.
Yeah, I mean, the king's our head of state, but what powers does he actually have?
Until she passed away, Queen Elizabeth was all we, our parents and our grandparents had known. Over the last few months, we've had to get used to having a king, Charles III. The monarch is also the head of state, but confusingly, that doesn't mean he has the most power.
God save the king!
Braden has been on a mission to get more info.
I'm going to need a bit of help getting my head around this, and I know just the person.
Hello, Braden.
Hello. So, how much power does the British monarch actually have?
Well, the monarch is a really important figurehead here in the UK. But actually, when it comes to things like making laws, it is largely a ceremonial role. For example, the monarch every week has a private meeting with the Prime Minister, but it's not the monarch's responsibility to tell the Prime Minister what to do. They are there to advise, encourage, and to warn. They have that very important role as well of giving out honours to people who've been doing good work up and down the country and carrying out visits to shine a light on important community projects. Now, the monarch is also Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, but it doesn't mean it's their responsibility to start wars. That comes down to the UK government, which of course is voted for by UK adults as part of our democracy.
Well, thank you very much. OK, so I get all of that, but what I'm really scratching my head about is how all this royal family stuff even started. So I'm going to take us back in time for a quick history lesson. You've heard of 1066, right? That was the year the French invaded England in what was called the Norman Conquest. Having won the battle, this guy, William the Conqueror, was made King of England, even though he could hardly speak any English. Since then, there have been loads of battles over who has control of the throne, and some untimely deaths. So lots of different kings and queens. Some of my favourites are Richard II, who was only 10 when he was crowned. Imagine that. Henry VIII, who had 6 wives, and Elizabeth I, who fought off an attempt to overthrow her when the Spanish Armada sailed towards England. So the rules are that to become our head of state, you have to be born into the royal family. You also have to be Christian, because ever since the reign of Henry VIII, part of the role is to be the defender of the faith. The British monarch is the supreme governor of the Church of England, but they also recognise and celebrate other faiths. As for other countries, well, they all have their own systems to decide who becomes their head of state. For example, in Saudi Arabia, King Salman bin Abdulaziz has absolute power, and there's never been a national election. And in countries like the USA, Brazil and Nigeria, the head of state is the president, elected by the people with power to run the country and make new laws. The system here in the UK is not without its critics, who say it's outdated and too expensive, but others argue that we really benefit from having the monarchy. It allows the politicians to get on with running the country without too many distractions, and having a royal family with all its traditions makes the UK stand out in the world.
Thanks, Braden.
Well, that's all the info we've got for you.
We're going to leave you with some great messages from FYI News Club members for the King.
Bye!
We want to thank you and wish you a long and glorious reign. We hope you enjoy the coronation. We will also be celebrating 2 of our scout group.
I love your decision of coronation food. I love quiche and I love spinach. I also look forward to eating the quiche. It will be delicious. Charles, I hope you enjoy becoming the king and having a nice time with your family and everything goes exactly to plan.
I appreciate how hard your job is and I hope you still have fun despite the responsibility.
I think you will be a good king because of your act of kindness.
I know the king's gonna be great. Good luck.
We loved Queen Elizabeth, so we think you'll do just as great job as your mother.